The Running Man, which is a adaptation of a Stephen King novel, which has been adapted before, way back in the late 70s, early 80s, with Arnold Schwarzenegger as the main character. I haven't seen that version. I have heard a lot of people, it is less on the book. It is more an Arnold movie full out through its DNA, so it's not really a very faithful take on the book with that original version. But this one, apparently, this new one with Glenn Powell and directed by Edward White, is meant to be a more closer to the book. And and what I will say here is that this movie is fine. It's a fine film. Um, this is a movie that I will say doesn't have that need to rush to the movie theater. Because I understand there are parts of the world where it will cost you $30 for a movie ticket. And if you want your snacks, it will cost you another $30. So you're paying $60 just to go see a movie. So there is that need of like, well, is this worth it? Is like, if you're going to see a movie or two a month, you want to be like the great, you're going to have a great time versus you could have a good time. And this movie doesn't have that like oomph to it that I would say for people who are very hesitant and very choosy towards what movies they're going to see. Now, what is The Running Man? Well, The Running Man is all centered around a dystopian future where we have these reality shows where people die. It's Squid Game, but everyone is aware that Squid Game. Where people are trying to win X amount of $1 million, and if they lose, they don't just go back home, and they get a bullet in the head or by these hunters. Because the whole thing about The Running Man is these hunters, and soon the whole world or everyone in America is hunting these people down for 30 days. And if they are able to survive 30 days, they get $1 million. And more, and if they do X, Y, and Z, they'll get this amount of dollars. If they do X, Y, and Z, they'll get more money in the cash prize, right? And you have Richard, who tries to attend one of these games that is a less, you might have injuries, but you're not heading to, your grave. But because he's so angry on the world, he's so angry with the system because he's the guy who wants to do the right thing. He's the guy who is trying his hardest, but the world keeps kicking him in the balls. He has a daughter and a wife, and the daughter is incredibly sick, keeps burning up, and needs surgery, needs medical attention, but they can't afford it. So he tries to go to one of these like lighter shows. There's one that they showcase called Spin the Wheel, where you are literally a hamster in a hamster in a wheel, and if you get the answer wrong, you better start running, and hopefully you don't pass out or and that type of thing. So, but because his anger, the network's like, you should be on The Running Man, and you'll get more money. So be on The Running Man, and then he's in the games. It's all about him surviving, right? And the concept of itself sounds like it should be like a butt clencher. It should be like, no, do this. It's like a thriller, a film, an action film that acts like a horror movie. That's the idea, right? But watching the film, I'm just like, this is fine. There's nothing terrible about it. Glenn Powell gives a decent performance. He is look, the character is very one note. Okay, like Richard is a very one note type of character because as I said, he's angry on the world. He's angry about the system. So he's like, saying F this, F that, sticking middle fingers left, right, center. This is BS. For most of the movie, a good half of the movie is him being full of anger, him being angry all the time. So you get someone like Glenn Powell who has this charisma, this charisma that could balance it out. So, it's not so like, oh my god, can this character show you some emotion that isn't just screaming in front of the camera and saying F this place, F the system? Is there more to this character? And they, Edward White tries to do that once again by hiring Glenn Powell. But the character's still one note. Like, again, they're trying to give you some motivation with, the reason why he is doing, why he's entering into these games. But it just doesn't. He's just one big. I wasn't that invested with the character, honestly. Glenn Powell once again gives a decent performance, but I wasn't that gripped with what was happening on screen. The action's fine. I mean, it's decent action. It's not like holy shit. Like most of the action that you see is in the trailer, sadly. The best one is the stuff on the plane. Don't want to hit spoilers, but that one's basically the big highlight action sequence. That's where most of the money went into it, and it's just one of those situations where you just go, everything's fine, everything's great, nothing's like that, like hooked into you, like, oh my god, what's happening? There's none of that. There was one moment that we see other contestants, just seeing how they're going. And there's this one character that I went, oh my god, what are you doing? No, what are you doing? So we got that going on. But outside of that, I wasn't like, no, do this, no, do that. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? There's none of that. Josh Brolin, is decent. Like in it as like just the evil, capitalism who just network guy who just cares about the ratings more than people and all that. I go, okay, I've seen Brolin do similar roles a little bit better. Was it Colin Domingo as like the host? He was the highlight because it's Colin Domingo. He brings that that energy. So him being the television presenter is like, welcome to the Running Man, like that. Or him basically being the same Tucci character from the Hunger Games, but for the Running Man. I won't lie, like, just having a host like that, you can kind of see how this world would accept a show like The Running Man, where they are literally seeing people getting killed on screen and thinking it's all fine. And they're being sold, and of course the public's being sold that these are people who are just are just lazy, and this is they don't basically you people have done the right thing. You've done everything that a society told you to do, but these people, they're on this show because they are stumped. They're the life bringers. They don't play by the society's rules, and they should be punished. There's that mind. There's how that you can kind of buy it. You can buy it. Now, the biggest criticism I have, and oddly enough, being a Edward White movie, you would assume that Edward White would do his Edward White isms. I don't think it really works in this movie. Like, there's the Michael Cera's character, and Michael Cera's character is pretty well put together. Is a pretty good character. But he has this, like, mother who thinks Richard is a demon? And it's a little... I get trying to be like, look, the concept of the story is a quite bleak story, so adding some levity is the way to go. But then there's the whole thing about the hot dogs, and then about Michael Cera's character with the hot dogs. There's this revolution thing happening, and then the last 3 minutes of the movie, I was like, this feels so out of place. So it feels like, for once, the Edward White isms don't really fit in the type of story that is getting told here. Or at least the style of this story doesn't fit in there. Like the high, once again, the high brass action, yeah, that works. But, yeah. It's just those isms sometimes, I was just like, this feels very out of place. Now, as I said, the movie's fine. Nothing to write home about. Nothing to go, oh my god, this is the most amazing movie ever. It's fine. It's fine. Would I adjust, me who's a big fan of the movie going experience, but again, once again, there are people out there who have to be choosy, right? If you can only afford a movie or two a month, go to a movie, once or twice a month, and you have to be very, very picky. Running Man would be a movie that you could wait for streaming. Sadly. I always say sadly, because I believe movies should be on the big screen. So, but anyway, if you've seen the movie, comment below, let me know your thoughts.